ToRaH Garden, speaking the absolute truth. ToRaH Nation.
Shabbat Shalom, Yashar and Yahudah. Grafted in Gentiles into the body of Mashiach. Hear ye. The word of Yahuwah by the prophet of Yahuwah. We're listening to none other than Darak, iBar. The song is entitled Wear This Crown. Listen, I don't righteous music. This is an introduction to our Shabbat lesson done by none other than our Achi, Yahudah. The message is entitled, In the Witness, the Kingdom Inside You. Listen, Achi did a fine job on this lesson, man, I tell you. Had me rejoicing because it spoke volumes to me. And I believe if you give yourself to this word, it'll do the same for you. So, with no further delay, the next voice you're going to hear is not mine, but it's going to be my Achi's. Yaakov ben Zion Gaal, give him your undivided attention. And with that, I say, listen, Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom, and be blessed. So, but yeah, man. So that's that's just what the Most High is doing. But again, like I said, it's that time, it's that hour. And we have to be vigilant. So,
yeah.
You in? You ready?
I'm ready. It's pretty much I guess we can call it confirmation that you just touched on, but we're gonna walk it out.
We're gonna walk it out. You know what I'm saying? Look, we're gonna walk it out. We're gonna trust the Most High. Most High gonna go by the spirit of wisdom and revelation and the knowledge of Mashiach, going to do his thing. Because greater is he that's in us than he that's in the world. Because we choose to be led by the spirit of Yahuwah, and because we do, we are sons and daughters of Yahuwah. Abba Yahuwah, in the name of Yahushua HaMashiach, all praise to you through faith in the witness of Yahushua HaMashiach. All praise to you because I can stand before you and bring to you the sacrifice of praise, the fruit of my lips giving thanks for rest, the fruit of my lips giving thanks for your peace, the fruit of my lips giving thanks because you have given us sonship, daughters. You have made us to be partakers of your divine nature. You have put your RUACH HaKodesh in us. You in me, me in you, me in you, you in me. Abba Yahuwah, we are one in the name of Yahushua HaMashiach. I give you praise for the kinsman redeemer. I give you praise for Yahushua HaMashiach, our kinsman redeemer, the kinsman redeemer of Yashar and Yahudah, and to all others who are outside the nation, that are amongst the other nations who want to receive this witness, you have brought Yeshua into them. Abba, I praise you. It is a privilege to have this treasure in earthen vessels. We recognize it's not so that we can be something, but that the excellency of this glory may be of you and not of us. Abba Yahuwah, I give you praise. This has gotten us the kingdom. Abba Yahuwah, I praise you for being a part of your kingdom. I give you praise for being a part of your kingdom. I give you praise for having redeemed us from darkness, having redeemed us from the curse of the law, having redeemed us through faith in the blood of Yahushua HaMashiach. We are redeemed. Abba Yahuwah, I thank you for Emunah. I thank you for Emunah. You said it comes by hearing, and hearing by the word of Abba Yahuwah. Abba, I give you praise. I take authority over everything that's not like you. every RUACH, every evil anti-Mashiach RUACH that has set itself up against the people of Yahuwah, to stop them, to hinder them, to distract them from receiving this word that is to go forth today. Yahuwah, I recognize the word is for those who have an ear to hear, and I'm praying that you, by your authority in the Shamayim, would honor the authority that I use in the RUACH as I make these devils subject. Just like Yahushua HaMashiach did when he was in the earth, and he told us that these signs shall follow us. Abba Yahuwah, I bind these devils in the name of Yahushua HaMashiach, these demons, these evil ruachs, and I command them to be subject and obey the word of Yahuwah and to take your hands off the people. Abba Yahuwah, I pray. I pray, Abba Yahuwah, I pray that the Ruach of wisdom and revelation and the knowledge of you would come forth, and it would resonate in the hearts of those who you have chosen to hear. Abba Yahuwah, we do this for you, for the kingdom. We do this for the remnant, Yahuwah, that you're calling out of Babylon. The remnant that you're calling out of Babylon. Abba Yahuwah, I pray in the name of Yahushua Mashiach. Let the words of my mouth, Abba Yahuwah, and the meditation of my heart be acceptable in thy sight. Take the reins of our lips, Abba, and the reins of our tongue, Abba, and reign. Have the dominion. Abba Yahuwah, have the dominion. Abba Yahuwah, in the name of Yahushua HaMashiach, I give you praise. I give you praise, I give you praise, I give you praise. I give you praise, I give you praise, I give you praise. In the name of Yahushua Mashiach, hallelujah. Hallelujah, Achi.
All right, so it's a lot in my heart right now. Why does it keep dropping? Let me pull it back up. But the Most High personally has been dealing with me on validation, right? Recognizing his validation, not to be caught in the validation of others, not to, because that's when you talk about how the enemy creeps in, right? He creeps in through our emotions, through our desires, and through our needs. Like, there's a need in man to be validated.
Yeah.
But what that looks like and what is actual validation is two different things. Validation comes from Yahuwah.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and you got to stand on that, right? And the lack of faith and the wickedness involved in not standing on it. You know, the children of Yashar, they heard him speak. That was validation. And when he spoke from a smoking mountain, but he spoke to all the children, all the people, that is validation that you are his people.
Yeah.
Too much for them. When Hamashiach gives the parable of the king who goes on a journey and leaves his servants with the talents, and that was a validation.
Mm-hmm.
He left one with 10, one with 5, one with 1, but that in itself was a validation of trust.
Yes.
The one with 1 was wicked because he did not recognize that, and so he buried it, right? And that's what the enemy creeps in. It creeps in and it makes this feel as like a burden, right? Because you start seeking different validations, whether it be like everything you just named, your job, your children, your wife, other people, like and it becomes a distraction, and before you know it, you don't gave it all up. You don't even realize it. You don't gave it all up. But so being mindful of the distractions and why they come, or a reason why they come and how they come, and understanding the turmoils, the tribulations are he's already given you the validation by saying that these things work with patience, and patience work with hope, and hope never fails. So, you know, don't be moved by the distractions and then start seeking a validation that that moves you from fasting, praying, and studying. That moves you from your center. That moves you from standing. Well, this is why Paul's. Anyway, I'm like this morning I woke up and he was this right here is what he just started giving me on there's a difference between, and we've touched on this in the past, like all men fall under the curse of the law, sin, and death, right? That's not, I won't even say, yeah, it's a law. You sin, you die. The law already existed. He told Adam and Ava about the law. They obviously didn't believe him, walk right into it. Boom. All men are subject to that law since then. But there's also the curses of the covenant that belong to a nation. And so Hamashiach's atonement is all-encompassing. It covers for all men deliverance from the law of sin and death, right? Redemption back, but it also covers for the children of Yashar deliverance from the curses of the covenant. And it looks one way as a nation, but we don't have that experience yet. And this is more looking at how it looks for us and who we are right now. Because right now, like, so I'm just going to touch on some of the curses here and then show what Hamashiach, what he institutes from the day from the beginning of him starting to go out and tell people. When John the Baptist, Yahudah says, you know, repent for the kingdom of heaven is near. And then Hamashiach comes on the scene, and just like in the song Darak said, the kingdom is within you. Hamashiach switches, he really shifts. He walks in the renewed covenant in establishing the kingdom within and fulfilling the promises, right? The promise that I will write the ToRaH upon your heart and upon your mind, and I will be like, this is what becomes, and I will give you a new RUACH. He comes to fulfill this first. These are it's an order in the prophecy that must be fulfilled in having the people who have ToRaH written upon their heart is, as we know, this is what happens first. Then the actual kingdom, but it starts within our hearts. We are a scattered nation. And so what does that look like? And how do we walk in the blessings of the covenant, the power scattered, not in our land? And so starting off Deuteronomy 28, 64-68, it said, Yahuwah shall scatter you among all people, from the one end of the earth even to the other, and there you shall serve other Elohim, which neither you nor your fathers have known, even wood and stone. And among these nations shall you find no ease, neither shall the sole of your foot have rest. But Yahuwah shall give you there a trembling heart, and falling of eyes, and sorrow of mind, and your life shall hang in doubt before you, and you shall fear day and night, and you shall have none assurance of your life. In the morning you shall say, would to Elul it were evening, and at evening you shall say, would to Elul it were morning. For the fear of your heart wherewith you shall fear, and for the sight of your eyes which you shall see. And Yahuwah shall bring you into Mitzrayim again with ships. By the way whereof I spoke unto you, you shall see it no more again. And there you shall be sold unto your enemies for bondmen and bondwomen, and no man shall buy you. So I'm looking at these 4 verses of the curses because we know that the curses start off with all of the plagues and being, and you know, our enemies coming in one way, chasing us out 7 ways. But here is the heart of the curse. What happens to you in your heart? The overwhelming fear that is placed upon you, because we know that, right, that in itself means that we are now operating. Scripture tells us that we have not been given the Spirit. I'm gonna get into that verse, but we're operating now in a way, right? And also he says, and there he says, Yahuwah shall bring you into Mizraim again with ships by the way whereof I spoken to you. You shall see it no more again. And so I wrestle with, what does that mean? Because people saying they're going back to Yashar and this, that, and third. But if he says you see it no more again, is that where you're going?
Right.
So
exactly.
When Yahusha comes on the scene, he declares and shifts the focus from the natural immediately into understanding the temple of the Most High, because there has to be a new definition for this renewed covenant. And so he's in John 2, Yahudah chapter 2, 19 through 20, it says, Yahusha answered and said unto them, destroy this temple, and in 3 days I will raise it up. Then said the Yahudim, 46 years was this temple in building, and you will rear it up in 3 days? Them having no understanding that he was talking about his body. Right. And so he's bringing in the fullness of the will of Yahuwah, of the fullness of the ToRaH and the prophets. He's bringing in the fullness. Emmanuel means God with him, right? But and then he tells you in John, I will not leave you comforter, but I will in John 14, I will not leave you comfortless, but I will give you the Ruach HaKodesh, which for he is with you, but and will be in you. Right. So the fullness of ToRaH and the prophets, and he's establishing that from the onset, that this is what's taking place right now. So, but it's only to those who have eyes to see and ears to hear to understand what he's talking about. And but it's
and you know what's interesting? Sorry to cut you off, but you know what is how Yahusha didn't ever acknowledge that physical temple.
Yeah.
Right? Because that physical temple was flawed. Right? Whereas when he goes on to say about in 3 days, when he was talking about his body, he was literally giving them a clue of the presence of Yahuwah, right, in you. Right? It was the presence of Hamashiach, the presence of the Ruach HaKodesh, right? The presence of Yahuwah in you. And that's also a validation of Yahuwah saying he has no pleasures in temples built with the hands of men. Right? So because he does not acknowledge them, right? Because the disciples did the same thing to him too. When they said, look, you're
it's good that we are here. Let's build
a temple. Look how beautiful it is. You know, and Herodias won the people's, tried to win the people's hearts by making this temple look elaborate, right? That he did, right? So Yahusha says, listen, that's going to be brought down. That's nothing. But this temple,
one stone going to be left by the other one.
But this temple, right? You can destroy it, and in 3 days, it's coming right back up.
Coming right back up. And so, but he also speaks. So he also speaks to us in validation and in prophecy, right? So He says in Matthew 5, he says, "You are the salt of the earth. But if the salt have lost its savor, wherewith shall it be salted? It is thenceforth good for nothing but to be cast out and to be trodden under foot of men." So that, like, to me, when I read the Bezoras, I realize that Hamashiach had this really dope way of taking large parts of Torah and then putting them into a sentence, right?
Yeah.
Like, man, I'm gonna sum this up real fast for you, right? Because that one verse is Deuteronomy 28. That is the complete Deuteronomy 28. You are the salt of the earth. That is all the blessings, right? Salt. You look at what salt is. I just put here what it is in the Greek. Is from the definition. It says salt with which food is seasoned and sacrificed are sprinkled. So you are the seasoning of the sacrifice. The sacrifice before the Most High must be sprinkled and seasoned with salt. Those kind of saline matter used to fertilize arable land. You make the land right. Salt is a symbol of lasting concord because it protects food from putrefaction and preserves it unchanged. You make sure that food can't get infested, it can't spoil. So you protect, you preserve, right? Salt is a symbol of lasting concord because it protects. Yeah, accordingly, in the solemn ratification of compacts, this is a practice that continues this day in some cultures, partaking of salt together. Salt is wisdom and grace exhibited in speech. Salt affects. And then we look at what we know of salt. Salt melts ice and snow. Salt can crack stone if from wearing it down. And so if we're doing this through the life we live, we are the salt of the earth. When the racism that we experience from our own people, forget other nations, from our own people, is that when you start saying, we the people of the book, then they be like, "Oh man, you just trying to make yourself special. You got no issue believing that some white man is the person of the book, but the minute you say it's us, and that's not, and then the Christian, that's not important. That's not important. But no, it is important because he's only talking to Hebrews here.
All right.
He's only talking to Hebrews. So it is important to understand who the people are because they are the salt of the earth because the word was given to them. Right. It is through them that this word is spread. Salt is shaking and scattered, whether it's in seasoning, whether it's in preservation, so we're scattered. He's speaking to things. We are the salt of the earth, means the whole earth has to be salted, not the land of Yashar, but the entire earth. So our scattering, what the enemy meant for evil, the Most High turned around for our good at all times. His purpose is being fulfilled, even in the curses, right? And the thing is that as a people, as long as we don't recognize what he is saying and who we are and what our commitment is, and we don't return to the witness, we are good for nothing other than to be trodden under the foot of men. And that doesn't change. That doesn't change because the 400 years of what some say of slavery comes to an end. That's not what brings that to an end. That says you're good for nothing except to be trodden under the foot of men, which means which literally just means that you are good for nothing. The 400 years can be up, but you have no value other than to be trodden under the foot of men. This is why, like, slavery ends and they write into the Constitution of America that slavery nor indentured servitude should be allowed in the U.S. or any of its territories except one has been duly convicted of a felony. So we got 2.5 million slaves still in America. That's everybody in prison on felony conviction. Right. So you haven't escaped anything until you return. They've already, like, so when Christian says we wrestle. I'm gonna get there. I'm gonna slow down. I'm gonna get ahead of myself. He says, "You are the light of the world. A city that is set on the hill cannot be hid. Neither do men light a candle and put it under a bushel, but on a menorah, and it gives light unto all that are in the house. let your light so shine before men that they may see your good works and glorify your Father which is in heaven. And so light in this light G2545, look at it elsewhere in the Gospels, is let your loins be girded about and your lights burning. And that's in Luke 12:35, Luke 24:32, and they said, oh crap, let me get that. And they said one to another, did not our hearts burn? So that particular light means to burn within us while he talked with us and while he opened to us the scriptures. And in John 5:35, he was a burning and a shining light and willing for a season and you were willing for a season to rejoice in his light. So this light that Hamashiach is speaking of is the ability to do just that. To set ablaze not just yourself, but to shine light into the darkness, knowing that the darkness cannot comprehend the light, and you're doing that to the hearts of others. The same way that when the disciples saw Hamashiach, but he had hid himself, like in that verse, he said, "Did our hearts not burn?" Right. He set their hearts ablaze by opening up the scriptures to himself. But this is what we are to do, and it's already been described as to how that takes place, because he's speaking to a people in terminology that they understand. He's speaking to them in Hebraic terminology. They understand salt. They understand how sacrifices must be given. They understand how a candle is lit. That a candle itself must be pure, right? And that a candle itself, the only way to keep the menorah burning is according to what Moshe described, was given to Moshe in Exodus and Leviticus, where it says, "And thou shalt command the children of Israel that they bring the pure oil olive beaten for the light, to cause the lamp to burn always in the tabernacle of the congregation without the veil, which is before the testimony. Aaron and his sons shall order it from evening to morning before Yahuwah. It shall be a statute forever unto their generations on the behalf of the children of Israel." So this light that was supposed to be in the temple is still supposed to be in the temple, but you the temple now.
Right. Absolutely.
You the temple.
Absolutely.
Right. And so how do you bring olive oil beaten to the temple? How? Right? Because the promise is that the comforter will be with you forever. And he said he will never leave you in no, Father, glorify me.
I think that's
in 14,
14.
right? 14, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's 1400. 16 verse. Oh no.
Yeah. Oh, right there. Yep, she was right. 16 verse. And he says, well, going just a little farther back, he says, 51 to 50 verse, "If you love me, guard my commandments." First things first. Right. "And I will pray the Father," and so here you have the order, "and I will pray the Father, and he shall give you another comforter, that he may abide with you forever, even the Ruach of myth, the Ruach of truth, whom the world cannot receive, because it sees him not, neither knows him, but you know him, for he dwells with you and shall be in you." The reason why their hearts burned is because the Ruach of truth, whenever Hamashiach opened his mouth, the Ruach of truth spoke and set their hearts ablaze with the truth. They knew, they recognized. And so when he in Luke, where it says, "Did our hearts not burn?" They were saying that in relationship to understanding the Ruach. When he spoke, "Did our hearts not burn?" We understand it's burning. We understand when we hear truth being opened up through scripture in the anointing, we understand that. Did that just not take place again?
Yeah.
Right. And so, but this, yet when it was time for them to receive the RUACH, what were they doing? They was in the upper room fasting and praying. Yeah. You must present oil, beaten. Paul says, I beat my body into subjection. Right? The production of oil in this temple, where it was physical olives beaten, is your ability. Like you said, I'm about to fast. I'm about to make the devil really mad. I got a soul he can never have. Right? Is to produce. You have to produce the oil. Those who have lamps with no oil in it are those who refuse to produce the oil that cause their lamps to die out, to run dry. And I'm just receiving this, and I'm receiving it for myself, and understanding that when you man, you know when a flame burns, it's most furious. It's most furious when it's first lit and when it's about to die.
Yeah.
A flame fight to live.
Yeah.
And then it go out.
Yeah. That's RUACH.
So he's speaking to them in terminology that they will understand. But he's doing it not towards the temple made with hands. And this is what's radical. This is what's radical in his deliverance of ToRaH, is because he's speaking in the fullness of ToRaH, and they haven't heard that. And the church can't give you that because they think to fulfill me, to do away with, they have no idea what this is speaking of, or what it means to be filled with the Ruach HaKodesh, because it does not give you the liberty to just live any old type of way and to violate any old type of way and say he understands me, he knows my heart, or I don't have the right to judge no man or no woman. He's or the other one. Well, he say, come as you are. Nope, don't know any of these things. I know if I know in the Old Testament, the children of Yashar, before they presented themselves, had a wash.
Yeah.
They had a sustain. Go not at your woman.
Yeah, right.
You had to do a lot. Like, there wasn't no come as you are. You would die as you are. Right? You couldn't do that. I know that Leviticus 19 breaks down what it means to love thy neighbor. And in that, it says, if your neighbor is in sin, correct him. Don't love him. Don't leave him in that state. Leaving him in that state is not love. So all that, I don't have a right to judge. No, you don't have a right to judge according to your flesh and your petty attitudes.
Right.
But according to ToRaH, there is a way. We are a scattered people. So how does a scattered people become a nation? Well, Scripture says, as iron sharpens iron, so a man sharpens the countenance of his friend. It's not how. So yet that is a RUACH verse. That is a RUACH. Well, all scriptures are RUACH, so I don't want to make that the distinction. What I'm saying is that you have to be in the RUACH to fulfill that verse, because it's not about what you receive, it's what you bring. If I'm going to be salt, if I'm going to love my brother, then I'm going to discipline myself to love him in the discipline of the Ruach HaKodesh and ToRaH, to where I hold him accountable. And if I'm walking in the Ruach HaKodesh, then I'm allowing myself to be held accountable by him, because we're both holding this covenant between us at all times. We're abiding in it. It's in our hearts. We cannot abide in it. And in that, I sharpen him, he sharpens me, and we're both sharpened by the Ruach HaKodesh and ToRaH. As that is iron sharpening, because as iron sharpens iron, so shall a man sharpen the countenance of his friend. If every man is sharpening the countenance of his friend, then we are building in unity as a people. Right. until that one perfect day. We're building in that manner and we're scattered. So it looks different. But what it delivers us from is from the curses of being trodden under the foot of men. We are no longer subjected to that in that state. That is not we are this in the taking back of that is everything that Hamashiach is laying out in this verse, and then Paul he repeats and brings it back around. In all that he lays out, he's only reiterating this very thing here. So Mashiach, he goes on and says, think not that I am come to destroy the ToRaH or the prophets. I am not come to destroy, but to fulfill. And so everything he's speaking of is just that. He's directly speaking in chapter 5, the entire chapter, actually, he's directly speaking to the fulfillment, the fullness of this.
Yes.
And that is the prophecies of a new heart, a new mind, ToRaH here and here, the power to overcome the law of sin and death, to not be bound to that anymore, to live a righteous and blameless life, and to have in him a mediator, to have in him one who is not far removed from your infirmities, right? But not to live a reckless, unempowered life. You just being trodden under the foot of men, and even under your own foot. Your own flesh is trodden and beating you down.
Right.
For Amain, I say unto you, till heaven and earth pass, one yod or one tittle shall no wise pass from ToRaH till all be fulfilled. Right. And so in that, though he highlights, he breaks down the entire Deuteronomy 28 in one verse, but he also shows you the empowerment of why you're not called. You're called to be the salt, not to be trodden under feet. You're called to be the light, not hidden under a bushel. Right. And Paul reiterates that. Paul says, finally, my brethren, be strong in Yahudah and in the power of his might. Put on the whole armor of the Lord, that you may be able to stand against the wiles of the devil. For we wrestle not against flesh and blood. Right. So now here's the part. I want to, okay, so let me read this part right here first. So we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of darkness of this world, against spiritual wickedness in high places. What does that mean? That means that there's a lot of there's no separation in the way that the West has presented it to us, and it's a psychosis that you're this divided being. You know, when they came with they came in with all of this on mind, body, and soul. They divided the three. Right? There's no such thing. The Most High, let us make man in our image and our likeness. So there's a oneness.
Right.
Which directly speaks to a oneness. The West divides all three. And so when you think through that lens, you divide all three, and you think everything is happening in the invisible. Something's invisible if you just can't see it. Right now, DC's invisible to me. I can't see DC right now. There's a whole lot of wickedness going on in DC right now behind closed doors. That is the invisible. So when they talk about against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of darkness of this world, right? So when you look at how you're trotting underfoot, the 400-year curse can be up, but they don't wrote policies and laws to keep you trotting underfoot. They don't give licenses to kill you. In 1897, it's called the Election Day Massacre in Florida. Blacks paid they paid their poll. They had well-to-do communities, whole communities that were very well-to-do. You know, not just Tulsa. There was a bunch of them, and They paid their poll tax and went to vote, and the sheriffs of that town deputized of within that region of Florida deputized the whole clan, the entire clan, and they went around just killing.
Yeah.
Just killing, just killing. You will not make it to these polls. Just killing, right? It's written in the 13th Amendment that slavery still exists.
Yes.
So you being trodden underfoot, orgy of curse can end. But if you're not in this witness, you are exposed and you have no other purpose. You are good for nothing else but to be trodden under the foot of men. That don't stop. That don't stop. You knowing you a Hebrew, he's speaking to Hebrews.
Absolutely.
What are you talking about? He's speaking, telling Hebrews, you're good for nothing but to be trodden under the foot of men. So you knowing nothing.
Oh,
But in the witness with the Ruach HaKodesh, this is what he says. He says, wherefore take on to you the whole armor of Yahuwah, that ye may be able to withstand in the evil day, and having done all, to stand. So you have the ability to withstand the attacks of the enemy, and having withstand them to stand in his truth.
Right. Absolutely.
If I die today, I care less about this frame. They cannot have my soul.
Right.
Therefore, I no longer operate. I'm not driven by fear. I'm not running around saying, I wish to Yahuwah it was night in the day, and that night saying, I wish to Yahuwah it was day.
Right.
I say for me to live is Yahusha, to die is
Oh man, look. That's Ruach. This is Ruach. I'm telling you. Oh, let him use you. This is Ruach, bro. This is.
Stand therefore, having your loins girt about with truth, and having on the breastplate of righteousness, and your feet shod with the preparation of the bezorah of peace. Above all, taking the shield of faith, wherewith you should be able to quench all the fiery darts of the wicked, and take the helmet of Yeshua and the sword of the Ruach, which is the word of Yahuwah, praying always with the prayer and supplication in the Ruach, thereunto with all perseverance and supplication for all Kodashim, right? And so in this, when he says that when Moshe says, yo, you must tell the children to provide oil of olive beaten, right? And Hamashiach says, you the light. The candles must be in ToRaH, it's later, they must be pure candles and pure oil. Hamashiach says, you the candle, you go in the menorah, you the oil in your lamp. That's in you. Paul is laying out what that means. These weapons of our warfare only come about through the perseverance of fasting, prayer, and studying the ToRaH and keeping it before you and walking in the Ruach HaKodesh. You don't get it. He says the gospel of peace, which means that you must be preparing. You must be preparing. You must always be before the Most High. You must always be get ready, right? When we started talking about how validation operates. Well, validation is faith. Do I trust what he has said about me?
Yes.
Do I trust what he's entrusted me with? Right? And so he says, taking the shield of faith, wherewith you shall be able to quench all the fiery darts of the wicked. Man, if he says, if you believe upon this thing, I've given you the rights to be the sons and daughters of Yahuwah, then I have to stand in that. I have to trust that validation in order to quench these things. If I don't trust that validation, then I won't walk in preparation. Right? This is why John says, all of us who have that hope, keep ourselves pure. We move in this preparation onto that day. In prayer, our prayers, as much as we are in the state of being grateful, in a state of praise, in a state of repentance, man, it's for all the Kodashim.
Yes.
Because we all going through it. Yo, we are a scattered people, all going through the same thing.
Yeah.
All facing the same enemy, all facing the same attacks, all holding to the same conviction. all being bombarded by the same distractions.
Yeah. Listen, man, I gotta say something. Listen, right? When after I prayed, I got him prayed, I went to the restroom, right? And I go in there in the closet, close the door, and because it's right near the bed, and I go and close the door, and I sit there and I read, and I'm sitting there and I'm reading, and Yahuwah shows me armor, right? But what he showed me through you, right? That's the process. Now, because what we do is we animate it, right?
Yeah.
We animate it, the sword of, and the shield and my helmet, but it's spiritual discipline. At the end of the day, it's spiritual discipline because you got to pray. You got to read. Right? Because it's going to affect your mind. It's going to affect what you say, right? It's going to establish you on the offense. Yeah, you're going to need to have a shield because Hasatan is going to, because he's the anti-Mashiach, constantly bombard you and what you think. He's going to constantly try to gradually slow walk you out of something. But listen, you got to make sure that you maintain what Yahuwah is giving you as weaponry. You got to understand that you got to fast. You got to understand. See, you can't get by without doing these things. You can't succeed without doing these. You can't overcome without doing these things. You can't allow yourself to passively, subtly be seduced or tricked into believing that it don't take all that.
Right?
Right? That it doesn't take all that. And in the end, right, be struggling with affirmation. Validation.
Because that's exactly, because that's the first thing. Yo, remember, like, the enemy's so subtle. First thing he asked iBar was, did he really say that? And if you think that,
did you really say that?
Are you really? Yeah. Are you really his? I mean, I know he said that, but did he say it for you?
Yeah.
Did he really say it for you? Come on, you know you.
Yeah.
You really think you really think that you his?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's not. It come, man, and I'm speaking from experience. I'm talking. I know it come. I know that if you allow the world to crouch in and you get distracted, it come right in.
Quick.
You start looking for different validations.
It comes to me. Listen, I go in every day, and sometimes sometimes most of I tell me not to, then I won't. But then there's sometimes, right? I say, is this really? And the people really getting, well, maybe I'll take a break today. Listen, and what you do is you set yourself up because now you have lost your
connection,
the focus, right? And recognizing that Yahuwah has already validated the message
and already put you on path.
He already told you what to do. Stop questioning it. But again, now listen. Hasatan is the enemy.
Yeah.
He's got demons. He's got anti-Mashiach that are constantly coming in and bombarding them. Right? Because everything that's not Yahuwah is anti-Yahuwah. Everything that's not Yahusha is anti-Yahusha.
Anti-Yahusha, that's right.
Doesn't matter what it is. If it pulls you away or it distracts you, right? Or it slows your pursuit of righteousness down, it's anti-Mashiach. So, you have to put on the whole armor.
Put on the whole armor.
You got to get in the word. You got to pray. You got to pray with your understanding. You got to pray in the Ruach.
Hallelujah.
You got to sing with your understanding. You got to sing in the Ruach.
You got to sing in the Ruach. Hallelujah.
Get off in a quiet place. Sometimes you got to get your butt up at 1 o'clock in the morning and get on your knees before Yahuwah and pray and read. That's how you put on the armor. That's how you put on the armor. Man, Achi, man. Look.
You giving it up, Yaakov.
This word was for me.
It was for me too. This was it.
It was for me. Because I was trying to. I know, because I always know with Yahuwah always gives me an idea of what he's going to do, and then I just let it go, right? In the Ruach, I just let it go, right? Well, I had an idea. I'm like, listen, man, go in, man. Don't let me slow you down.
But in that, Paul, and this is something that the long suffering of the Most High, and is man, it is not to be emotional, but it brings tears, because you understand, like you don't understand, you don't have a full, but I know I know how long suffering he is, and that he's always faithful to bring you to a place of remembrance. Now, whether we acknowledge or ignore is the thing, but he's faithful to do that. Like, and so when Timothy's in a place of doubt, Paul says, "Wherefore I put you in remembrance." That you stir up the gift of Yahuwah, which is that you stir up, not that Yahuwah will stir up and hit, like,
stir up.
You stir up.
You stir up. Right? I'm gonna say this too, right? So when I'm down, because I'm prostrated before Yahuwah and I'm praying and I'm just asking Yahuwah to forgive me and forgive my ancestors, forgive my brothers, forgive every just Achi's coaches going in. Yeah. And then I got up and I was walking through the house and I was praying. And Yahuwah said, you remember I delivered you from that stroke.
That's right.
So you remember how I delivered you, right? You sought me in the Ruach, and I answered you in the Ruach.
Hallelujah.
I delivered you, right?
Hallelujah.
And then I started remembering
what that was
all
like.
that he was doing, and how he had validated me. How he had validated me, right? And helped me to realize that I was his own, right? He said, remember I told you that me and you and me, me and you and me. You remember I told you. Now this is what listen, man, it's a rush. And then something clicked. And I'm like, okay, I understand how to fit on your devices. And then I suited up. Right? I suited up. I put on armor. Right? Because now I started to take what I knew and used it to fight Hasatan, to war against the enemy. Right? It's just the same thing he's done in the original covenant. Yahuwah does what he does. He declared it from the beginning. Yep. Right?
That's right.
There's nothing new for him under the sun. He reminded me of my forefathers. And then I began to praise you and I thank him for allowing the Father that you allowed to make it on that ship, to endure hardship, to produce a lineage that he brought forth from me this day. Somebody Yahuwah had down the line, whether they came to know him or not, was necessary to be here so that I could be here.
That's right.
He told me to remember. I just wanted to say.
Hallelujah.
Go ahead.
Hallelujah.
I'm going in.
No.
Go ahead.
But it's like that's the example that you're giving, the example of exactly what Paul told Timothy. In remembrance, you stir up the gift of our Lord. You suit up.
Right.
You get back. You stirring up the gift. You get back to the preparation. You get back to it. Yo, so here's the thing. Scripture said that he's a rewarder of those who seek him diligently, right? Who seek him diligently. And so, it's one thing to say get up, right? But those are words of faith and validation.
Right.
He says get up at 1 o'clock because he knows you're going to get up, because you've been consistent in getting up. Not at 1 o'clock in particular, but been consistent in saying, I got to get up and pray.
Right.
Being the one stirring up.
Right.
You being the one stirring up. You being the one getting up and getting into prayer and getting into the word and pushing aside meals, saying, no, I got some things I need to present to him that I want clarity on. I want clarity on things I want clarity on things in this word. If there's something that needs to be broken, I'm getting before him. You stirring up the gift. And then in that, he says, get up and lay before me. That's what he did he told Avraham, walk before me and be perfect. Right? Like if you look at that particular passage, he told Avraham, it says, and when Avram was 90 years old and 9, Yahuwah appeared to Avram and said unto him, I am El Shaddai. Walk before me and be perfect, and I will make my covenant between me and you, and will multiply you exceedingly. And Avram fell on his face and said, Eluah talked with him, saying, as for me, behold, my covenant is with you. So now, listen, he says, I will make my covenant with you if you walk before me and be perfect. And then he immediately says, as for me, behold, my covenant is with you. Which means that he told him to do something that he was already doing.
Right.
Yeah, Abraham had already lived a life of seeking Yahuwah.
Right.
Of seeking his word, of seeking his will, of guarding his watch. He tells Yitzhak that. He says, because Avram kept my ToRaH, kept my law, kept my statutes, guarded my watch. Right? It's in the seeking of him. It's in the stirring up that he comes to a place of hearing his voice, of laying prostrate and having the confirmation. The validation is like he wasn't waiting on this moment for the validation. He was living in it, pushing on it. Right? This is why the three servants. The servant with the 10 went and got 10 more. He understood. I'm gonna stir this up. He put these gifts in my hand. I'm stirring them up. The servant with the 5 went and got 5 more. The servant who got 1 couldn't understand. Now this the trick. This trick that we all fall into. I believe he was looking at the 5 and the 10, saying, "Man, why I ain't get 5 and 10? What I'm gonna do with this 1? This dude crazy. Always putting some hard task on me. This burden he gonna put on me.
Because if I lose this 1, I fail. Period.
I fail.
At least if they got 3 or 4." And they only able to produce off of 3, then they ain't gonna look as bad. But all I got is 1.
All I got is 1.
Right.
Looking for validation in what others have, and not recognizing that the Most High trusted me with something.
Yeah. Right.
Trusted me.
Right.
My Adonai trusted me.
Right.
I got to figure this out. I got to figure this out. Yeah. And that has to be the constant thought process and mindset, the conscious mindset. I gotta, because if I'm gonna figure this out, then I need to stay on my knees.
Yes.
I need to stay in this ToRaH. I need to stay in this word. I need to push some things aside because I know they're gonna distract me from figuring this out.
Yes. See, and the time is critical, man. I mean, the day and the time is critical. You know what I mean? I mean, this is we in the hour of the destruction of the daughter of Babylon, right? We have to be ready. We have to know what Yahuwah is saying. We got to have an ear to hear in order to know what we need to do. You know, if you ain't in that place, you ain't gonna hear nothing. You ain't gonna hear nothing. You ain't gonna do nothing.
See nothing.
You ain't gonna see nothing. And at the end of the day, when they put you on that system where they got all your money and they control how much you take in and take out, and when they decide they want to say, "Oh, you got that in there. Oh, but you didn't do this. You can't get it."
Mm-hmm.
But this is my money. I got to pay the taxes for my property. No. See, that's what they'll have over. You got to have your man. You got to know what the RUACH is saying. You got to.
I don't know, yeah.
And the only way you're gonna get to that place is that you do exactly what you said.
That's it.
Put the iron
That's
on.
it. You got to put. I love this verse speak directly to me because, like, I know, like, when I begin to wrestle, it's because I'm not doing what I need to be doing. I'm not doing enough of it, right? And so, but it's on me to stir that up, and especially like the same way that Paul Shaul was talking to Timothy he says, which is in you by the putting on of my hands. I know I have rough hands put on me.
Right.
For Yahuwah has not given us the ruach of fear, but of power and of love and of a sound mind. I don't have to operate like this. He is reiterating that, these curses ain't on you, bro.
Right.
You're not moving in the fear. Your mind is not full of anxiety. None of these things mean anything because you have the ruach hakodesh. These things, you are rooted in power, in love, and of a sound mind. Stir it up.
Right.
Stir it up.
Right. Hallelujah. Hallelujah.
That's it.
That was it. I was lit.
That's it. But that and I say like say that we started off talking about the kingdom within you. This is how we are the people and how the kingdom is within us. And it's an added weight. Like I know me and Elder was talking about this dude who posted about clarifying what it means to spare not and cry loud. That when that statement was made in Isaiah, it was to the nation who knew they were a nation, who knew they were a people, who understand that they was purposely abandoning Yahuwah in his ToRaH. But we are not. That's not where we at. That is not, so standing on the corner yelling and rebuking everybody is not. We're not in that time. We in the time where you understand that the two well, I think there's, I don't know, I won't say new, because I don't think there's any new L's, but we got caught up in the iteration, the newest iteration of these fallens, right? Wood and stone, right? There was no such thing as Christianity or Islam. Them things was new. We already served all the other old guys. We was diving into everything.
Right.
But then we got these things put upon us through slavery, and it's such a I know, man. I know all of you know a bunch of black Muslims, right? And they tell you, well, slavery in Islam is slavery. Who told you that?
Right.
Arab. Right? Because guess what? Guess what these white folks, everybody else around the world, well, slavery over in America wasn't that bad, right? So you gonna believe? You know what I mean, it's the same thing.
Yeah.
They were conquered by death, by the sword and slavery, and became Muslim. And now hundreds of years later, they be like, nah, we Muslim, blah, 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 blah. Same thing, Christianity. This was put on you through death, through sword, through slavery. And now you going to talk about, I know my Jesus. My Jesus was never, you don't know anything.
Yes, absolutely.
We caught in these things. And so we are not a unified nation to look at, to view. Now we can look at and scattered that, oh, we trodden underfoot of men everywhere.
Yeah.
But the view of what it means to not be under those things is to understand that the kingdom in me, because I got the RUACH HaKodesh, and therefore I'm not operating in that.
Right.
You can't get me to operate in that.
That system doesn't govern me.
Yeah.
It doesn't dictate how I respond. I'm going to respond in relationship to the witness because Yahuwah is on the inside of me, because I belong to him. I'm a part of his kingdom, and all these other kingdoms are going to be under his kingdom. Now, I have the privilege of being in this kingdom even now, even though the physical manifestation of that kingdom is yet. But at any rate, I am still in this kingdom. And because I am, there comes responsibility. Responsibility, right? And then I have to know what I need to do in order to maintain, to discipline, right? To keep my body and my mind in the dominion of this kingdom. I got to do that.
Hallelujah.
I got to do that. Achi. Yeah, give me this one.
Yeah. Let's go.
Look, this was good. This was good because the Most High, I know it was for me, right? Lance knew it was for him, right? There's a bunch of brews out here.
They gonna feel it too.
They gonna get it, right? They gonna get it.
Because when you really trying to, when you realize it, it's the truth.
It's true. It is, man. It is. Well, you done gave me ammo.
You reloaded. You reloaded. Gave you a supply drop.
The ruach of Yahuwah in you has given me ammo.
Hallelujah. Thank you, Robert.
So that's a beautiful thing, man. And this is not to exalt your flesh, because you take no pleasure in the flesh. But this is to affirm, right, that the ruach in you agrees with the ruach in me. And if two of you shall agree on earth as touching anything that we ask of Abba, it'll be done, right? Because, right, where Yahuwah's ruach is, there's power.
There's power.
There's power, man. So, man, that's all I got. And that's it for me. But I'm going in.
Yeah, I already know.
But I'm going to close it out for us here. We'll close it out. Abba Yahuwah, I thank you for this word. Abba Yahuwah, I give you praise for your word. Abba Yahuwah, I give you praise for your word. I give you praise for your word. I give you praise for your words. Your word has not gone out and returned unto you void, because we have received it. And and it has affected change in us. It has brought us to an understanding of a renewedness, the necessity of that which you have put in us, for us to remember, and then to build on, to grow from, to be strengthened with. Abba Yahuwah, in the name of Yahusha, Mashiach, I praise you. I praise you. I praise you. I praise you for everything you're doing. I praise you for everything you're doing. I praise you for everything you've done already. I give you praise. Abba, I thank you for this young Achi. I praise you. I praise you for both these Achis, Yahuwah. In the name of Yahushua HaMashiach, I give you praise for the word that has come forth, Yahuwah, by your RUACH HaKodesh. Abba Yahuwah, I give you praise. Abba Yahuwah, I pray that you would bless this Achi. I pray that you would bless this Achi, cause this Achi to continue to grow in Emunah and in the word of truth by the RUACH HaKodesh. Speak through him. Abba Yahuwah, speak to him. Abba Yahuwah, I thank you for this young ox, Lance Yahuwah. I thank you that in obedience, he's going into the water. He's receiving the witness of Yahushua HaMashiach. He's going to receive the RUACH HaKodesh of Yahuwah.
Yes,
I give you praise, Abba Yahuwah.
Hallelujah.
I give you praise, Abba Yahuwah. I give you praise. I give you praise. I give you praise for Kendrick. Yahuwah, in the name of Yahushua HaMashiach, in obedience to your ToRaH. I give you praise for Ezra, for your obedience to your ToRaH. Abba Yahuwah, I give you praise. I give you praise for Alicia, for obedience to ToRaH. Abba Yahuwah.
Yes, Abba.
Everybody under the sound of my voice, everybody under the sound of this Achi's voice, everybody that hears the word, allow it to bring forth fruit. I give you praise. Yahuwah, as we close out this Shabbat service, we are ever present before you to rest and to receive that which you continually have to give to us. And Abba, we give you praise. We take no praise for ourselves. We take no honor of ourselves. We take no pleasure in ourselves. But we render everything that we have unto you, because it is you that giveth us the ability to do what we do in the RUACH HaKodesh. And we praise you. Abba, let the words of our mouth and meditation of our hearts be acceptable in thy sight, Yahuwah, our strength and our Redeemer.
Hallelujah. Thank you,
Hallelujah.
Yeah. Now
Thank
listen,
you,
Hallelujah.
now this is one of the messages, right, that I'm gonna listen to.
Send me the link.
And then I'm gonna listen to it again.
Yeah, I need to keep this one in the arsenal.
I'm gonna listen to it again. It's truth. It's truth, man. It's truth. Hallelujah. So, Achis, listen, I love y'all, man. I praise the Most High.
You too, brother. Love you, bro.
I praise Yahuwah for the Shabbat. And listen, enjoy the rest of your Shabbat.
Yeah, you too.
May not hear from me today. But listen, I love you, man.
Yes, sir.
And I praise the Most High for you. So, with that being said, I'm going to say Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom,
Shabbat Shalom, your brothers. Rest.
Shabbat Shalom.
Be blessed. Hallelujah.
ToRaH Garden, speaking the absolute truth. ToRaH Nation.